From the News Channel 5 Network, this is SportsLine.
Hey there, and welcome into SportsLine. Steve Lehman here. Glad you are here with us on News Channel 5 Plus on this Monday night. Glad to be back on the air with you this week. Live shows, talking sports. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about tonight after what we saw yesterday. For all the dads out there, it was a great day to sit down, recline on the couch, have the family around, grab the remote, and enjoy yourself on Sunday, because we had some exciting theater yesterday in the world of sports. Nothing better than what we saw last night in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Cavaliers, Warriors, one game for the title. Golden State going for the chance to complete a really historic season after 73 wins in the regular season. LeBron James trying to complete his mission for Cleveland to bring a title back to that city after more than a half a century without a professional sports title, and those tortured fans there. And for a Game 7, it pretty much lived up to the hype. I mean, this was a tight game throughout. Maybe it was not always the most well-played game, but it was tight, it was competitive, and it came down to defensive stops and big plays down the stretch. And what more can you say about LeBron James? I know Steph Curry is the MVP. He's a two-time MVP, and rightfully so, for what he did for the Warriors the last 2 years. But LeBron James is still the baddest dude on the planet. And he showed that in this series, and he showed that once again last night. 27 points, 11 rebounds, 11 assists. Just the third player in NBA history to record a triple-double in Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Not surprisingly, all those guys won. James Worthy did it, and the logo Jerry West, the other two guys to do that. So LeBron in good company there. I mean, he's a legend. He's one of the best players we have ever seen in the NBA. And there is no debate about that now. He is clearly in that group. And while it's still too early to start talking about the legacy for a guy who's 31 years old or whatever LeBron is at this point, that was a pretty big stamp for him to complete that mission to bring Cleveland the title. And think about the moments in this series. The Warriors were down 3-1, and everybody counted them out, believed the series was over. And LeBron keeps his team together, and he puts them on his back. Game 5, he puts up 41 points. 41 points in Game 5. 16 rebounds or something like that. Comes back with a triple-double. 41 points again. Comes back in Game 7 with a triple-double and a performance for the ages. At the end of this series, think about this for a second. As good as LeBron is, in the NBA Finals, 7-game series, at the end of the series, LeBron James led all players in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. The 5 biggest statistical categories, he led all players in the series in them. That is a dominant performance. And that's why he's the MVP of the series, the best player on the planet, one of the best players we've ever seen, and now a 3-time NBA champion. He just willed it, and it was fun to see today as the Cavaliers went back to Cleveland. They brought that Larry O'Brien trophy back with them. Getting off the plane, the crowds at the airport, the people lining the streets, just wanting to get a glimpse of their champions. And to understand that delirium, you've got to be able to understand what life has been like as a Cleveland sports fan for so long now. It was 52 years ago when Jim Brown and the Browns won the NFL championship. That was 2 years before the first Super Bowl. So we're going back a ways. And since then, you have all sorts of these seminal moments in the tortured history for Cleveland sports fans. You have the Ernest Biner fumble, the Elway 99-yard drive. You've got Jose Mesa unable to get the save in the bottom of the ninth in the 1997 World Series against the Marlins. And you've got this Cavs team in the finals twice with LeBron, 2007 when he truly willed them to get there, and then they got swept. And then last season, when they get back there, and this team was built to be around LeBron when he came back home and was supposed to be a title contender, and they get there and they lose in 6 games to the Warriors. And here they were again, down 3-1, and you're wondering if this team and this city is going to go through it again. And instead, they turned things around. The first team in NBA history to come back from 3-1 down in a finals series. An incredible series comeback, an incredible finals performance, individually and collectively. And now they're the champions. And that is why you see streets packed and people screaming and yelling and, in essence, an impromptu parade when the Cavaliers came home today. And you can imagine that the scene when they have the actual parade is just going to be crazy. And rightfully so, because the Cavaliers are champions of the NBA. Another thing I found interesting, and you can chime in on the discussion tonight, 737-7767 is the phone number. Our lines are open. I want to get your opinion on this NBA Finals series. What did you make of it and the Cavaliers comeback? And also about this, because I found this interesting. If you go back a year ago, we had the exact same 2 teams in the NBA Finals. It was the Cavaliers and the Warriors. Cavaliers and their tortured fan base, a city that, I think a lot of us can get behind and say enough is enough for these people. Give them something good to cheer about at some point. Same 2 teams last year. And I think the overwhelming public opinion last year was, we want to see the Warriors win. This is a fun team. We like their players. They haven't won in a long, long time. We want to see them win. We don't want to see LeBron. We don't want to see the Cavaliers and that whole story win. And that happened last year. The Warriors won, and I think everybody, for the most part, unless you lived in Cleveland, were pretty happy. Fast forward 365 days to now, and in this series, it was like a tidal wave in a different direction in terms of the national perception and rooting pattern. I don't know anybody who wanted to see the Warriors, this Warriors team, win again. It was somehow people have fatigued on their style. Somehow people have fatigued on Steph Curry, Steve Kerr, Draymond Green, the rest of that team. And all of a sudden, LeBron James and the Cavaliers, a team who fired their coach in the middle of the season, a team that has Kevin Love, who's been an enigma ever since he's been there, that team was all of a sudden the likable team that people wanted to see win. And I just find that weird. The only thing I can point to is that we've reached a point now where the 24/7 news cycle and the constant coverage of this stuff just gives people fatigue. You've just had too much of the Warriors. When their pursuit of 73 games after winning the title last year, the incredible start to the season this year with 22 games, 24 games in a row that they won to start the season off. Then the pursuit of 73 wins, and then the run through the playoffs, going for a second title, 2-time MVP in Steph Curry, all of that stuff, I think, just wore on people. And they were tired of the Warriors by the time they got to the finals. Interesting. Your thoughts on these 2 teams, 737-7767. And let me throw this out there. LeBron now has 3 titles, 2 in Miami. He's been to, 8 final series now? 8 final series already in his career. 3 titles out of that. And now he's made due on the promise that he made when he came back home to Cleveland, that he was going to bring that title there. He's done that now. Where do you put LeBron James? Where does he rank amongst the all-time greats to play in the NBA? For comparison's sake, Michael Jordan up there in roughly the same amount of time in their careers. I think LeBron's at 13 seasons now. MJ eventually got to 15. MJ went to 6 finals and won 6 titles. Probably could have been more than that had he not retired and played baseball for a couple years in there. He was 6 for 6, which is perfection. He got a bunch of MVPs, bunch of scoring titles. But what LeBron does in the overall arsenal of his game, and now he's been to 8 finals with 2 different teams. He's won 3 titles with 2 different teams. He's done the job in Cleveland. Where does that rank? And how much do you hold against him the fact that he's lost some of these final series? Some people do, because you point to the idea that MJ was a perfect 6 for 6 and he was the ultimate closer, the guy that you wanted with the game or the series on the line, and people say LeBron isn't that. But I think also the way I look at it is at least 3 of those teams had no shot of being there if it's not for LeBron. He put them on his back and he got them there himself. And then when they got there, they were completely overmatched. And even him, the best player on the planet, was not able to overcome that. I think that's the way I side on it. That LeBron almost has to get credit for all those finals appearances because of the average nature of some of the teams that he played on. You can also consider the fact that MJ maybe wins a couple more titles if he continues to play during that stretch. So what do you think? Where do they fall? Who else deserves in that mix? I mean, Bill Russell for the old-timers certainly is an interesting argument. Magic Johnson, some of the guys from the Showtime Lakers. I'm sure some people will argue Larry Bird out there. Where do some of those guys rank? Shaq, Kobe. Where does LeBron now fit? That 3rd title, and doing it in Cleveland. You know, this wasn't the orchestrated team with Dwayne Wade, with Chris Bosh in Miami. This was his team, his city. He did it against one of the greatest teams we've ever seen, supposedly, in the Warriors. Interesting debate. All right, we got to take a break. We will come back, get to your phone calls. 737-7767 is the number. Stay tuned. More SportsLine right after this.